I'm a shotgun rider, cruise through the country, maybe pulling all-nighter. Every little body needs a Clyde decider. Come on, baby, be my shotgun rider.
Let's get back here for another edition of Skip Scoop, and we're going to start out this week with questions.
All right, we've got Scott Marks from Madisonville, Kentucky. Has the athletic department started selling season tickets for baseball, the new stadium? Excuse me, Scott, they have not started selling tickets. I think that's something they're going to be doing here in the near future. And if so, how can I purchase them? Scott, you can purchase them like everybody else. Throw your money, and I'm sure we'll give you some tickets. What do you think, Tom?
I believe it's 18779 IU Sports.
That's right. So there will be tickets in the future. Thank you for the inquiry. As a fan, a great idea to maybe have fans join you occasionally on Skip Scoop. Since it's my idea, I think I should be the first fan. I do think that's a good idea, Scott. I think we're going to look into that. That is a good idea. You got a long drive to get here, but maybe you can be the first one. But I do like that idea. We need to do that, Tom.
I think it could work.
Okay. This comes from David, all the way from Shreveport, Louisiana. I thoroughly enjoyed getting to see the Hoosiers in person a few years ago when y'all played a doubleheader here in Shreveport. Any chance for another Louisiana or Texas Southern swing in the near future? I'd love to see the team again. Kyle, I'm going to defer to future schedule.
We got 2 Florida trips. We got a South Carolina. Going to Georgia Southern as well. We were in Tulane last year. Where was he at?
Yeah, we were. Yeah, David, we were in Tulane last year. Nice 3-game set to kick off the year. So, but I don't know if we'll be near your area for a while, but we're going to be kind of in the vicinity. So hopefully, maybe you can catch us in one of those series in the upcoming. But you can check the schedule always on
It's IUHoosiers.com. Check it out. It's up to date.
All right. This comes from Scott from Pittsburgh. I have 2 questions. There's a nice article about Bart Kaufman Field stating it would have turf as opposed to grass. I was just curious if it was going to be actual dirt in the areas or if it was going to be brown colored turf. It's going to be turf. Everything's turf. So the dirt areas will have brown turf in those. It's very similar to what you said in your question here to Louisville's field. Secondly, I was just wondering if there was ever going to be a chance to purchase an IU baseball replica jersey. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. We have a golf outing coming up. Maybe there's one in the silent auction, something like that. So if those ever go on sale, I'm telling you right now, you'll be the first ones to know. At the IU surplus store, we'll put those for sale. I know we're going to do that as we transition some stuff so that all the people across the country can get our jerseys.
Hey, look good, feel good, play good.
A lot of NCAA rules that go with that stuff, Scott, so we got to make sure we're compliant there, as always. Coach, this comes from Joshua from Bloomington. This is your 8th year. Well, you said 7th, but I'm going to correct you, Joshua. It's my 8th year. It feels like 7th, but it's my 8th year as baseball coach. During that time, what individual season has taught you the most through adversity or success about yourself as a coach and as a person, and why? Look forward to hearing your response. Got me. I didn't prepare a lot for this, so I'm coming right at you on this. I would say really the first season was a very challenging season for me personally as a coach, because coming over from Miami, we had a lot of success. We were winning a lot, and we were coming over, taking over a program that was struggling a little bit. But through all of that, I saw something recently with Bill Mallory, and one of the things that he talked about was when he came here, and the success of Bill Mallory and IU football. But he always talks about that first team and that first group that kind of was the building blocks of. And I'll never forget. We didn't win a lot those first couple of years here, but those guys I give a lot of credit for being a transition, and the guys that were certainly here before, but also that first recruiting class that ultimately Kyle went on to win a championship their 3rd year. The faith that they had and the trust that they had in coming here when there hadn't been a lot of success in recent years. And so I think a lot about that and that transition, how difficult that was, of what I was giving up to come to. But at the end of the day, it started to me be what we envisioned many years ago and why we came. So I hope that answers your question, Joshua. And we don't have limited amount of tape, Kyle. I don't want to bore everybody with that. So
Before we get into pictures of the week, let's talk about the new Twitter, official IU Baseball Twitter, at IU Baseball News.
And I have to ask, Kyle, is this something that you came up with?
Absolutely.
I like it. It's you probably do a better job of explaining it than me.
Basically, it's going to have any kind of links to game tracker, live stats, live video, any of those random number stats. You want summer baseball updates, your pro league baseball updates from our former Hoosiers. That's where it's going to be, of course. Still got at Hoosier Baseball, which is your random thoughts that sometimes come at 3 a.m.
So for the layman out there, the simple minds, it's like the coach, the skip stuff. It's just random real life stuff, little all over the place.
Stick to that.
That's mine, right?
Correct.
The stuff that probably people are going to be more interested in, the real baseball stuff, is going to be yours, and I'm sure you're scrolling that.
There it is, at IU Baseball News.
Look at that.
All kinds of good stuff on
Right
there.
Right on. Okay, pictures. This is a cool one. We got this comes from Amy Donato, mother of Joey Donato, certainly our very talented left-handed pitcher in our program. This is Joey's grandfather in front of the USS Midway aircraft carrier in San Diego, wearing his IU gear. Love that. Gosh, look at, I mean, look how athletic he looks. That's his grandfather, right? That's where Joey gets it from. You know, we always thought it was Steve, but it's actually Joey. So, oh, and this is pretty cool here. And this is going to make sense in a second, but before that, Roger and Amy. I almost forgot. Roger and Amy, check them out, Kyle.
Yet another aerial view.
Yeah, it is. It's all about aerial views this week, isn't it? You know, that's a little, what do they call that, foreshadowing?
A little bit of a foreshadowing.
Yeah. Roger and Amy rode at Haver. Of course, Roger's our volunteer assistant coach on top of the Stratosphere in Vegas recently, where he was attending a wedding. And if you're afraid of heights, that's probably not something you want to do. And speaking of fear of heights, this comes from Matt from Bloomington. Love this photo, and this is really cool because we get all the air disciplines this week on Skip Scoop. This looks like a nice shot of Kauffman Field and the whole complex there out of an airplane, and that's really neat. So that's the construction site you can see there. We also got this shot. I got this last night. This shot here, Kyle, is from a balloon flying over. It's actually the opposite end of the one that we just looked at in the airplane. So you can see Kauffman Field being constructed, and certainly the softball stadium as well.
So we got Kauffman Field from a balloon, Kauffman Field from an airplane. I believe we may have one from a helicopter. Why don't you talk about a recent trip that you had, and maybe that baseball in the background might have something to do with it.
Well, you all were probably wondering, what the heck is that Cubs thing in there? Well, here's what the Cubs thing was. A good friend of mine in town, Adam Estes, was in Chicago and invited me and my son Jack to come pick him up, and had the awesome opportunity to meet Bob Burke, BMG Aviation out of Monroe County Airport. Never done this before, but jumped on a helicopter with Bob and rode up to Chicago, and actually it was a road trip to see my old Cubbies here. But as you said, we had airplane, we had balloon. Well, you know what? We also needed helicopter footage of Kauffman Field, so you're going to see a little bit of that here. So sit back and enjoy the ride.
Being a baseball fan, we thought that we would clue you in. We got a road trip going. No better road trip than the Chicago Cubs got the St. Louis Cardinals today. So Jack and I are going to travel up to Chicago, and Jack here is sporting his Cubs attire, fresh from 1988 polyester starter Cubs travel gear, actually worn by
you.
All right, so we'll give you some footage, and we'll see you up in Chicago too. Here comes our Jack. Here comes our ride.
Where?
Up over the horizon here. So you can see our ride coming in over here. And Kyle, we saw earlier today on Scoop where we had a balloon shot, we had an airplane shot, now we got a helicopter shot of Kauffman Field. So pretty impressive stuff. And this is my highlight here, because this is up. We've actually had a picture of this on Skip Scoop before, but up there in northern Indiana, and we're heading into Chicago here as we got through the windmills. A little bouncy, little turbulence right there. Flying over Soldier Field on the Sunday, they had a game going on. You can see a packed stadium, taking in all the sights. But here's our real destination right here, Wrigley Field. Look at the lake in the background, and then you get a little bit closer, and of course the world famous Wrigley Field sign there on the front of the ballpark. And then the ultimate destination was our helipad. We wanted to make sure we touched down, which was about a mile from Wrigley. All right, getting ready to look at one of the most awesome views in the world right here. My favorite thing ever is taking a look at the ivy when you come up through the porthole. So leaving Wrigley, we left a little early. Cubs were down 3, going into the 9th. So we're going to start heading back from our one-day journey. We go from this cab to that cab. We are getting ready for our return trip, BMG Aviation. Bob, who's gonna fly this thing?
You are.
Absolutely. So we're gonna get a little Skip Scoop. That's maybe the last episode ever of Skip Scoop.
Skip's flying as he speaks. Whoa, 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 whoa,
Hey, I was a little intimidated there taking over the controls, and you really can't have a perception of how fast you're going, but check this out. We got down about 100 or so feet off the ground, going 130 through the cornfield here, and you can see that, but then finally, ultimately, we got back to our final destination of Bloomington. Touched her down after the long journey, actually short journey in our little cab here. We had a great time, and hope you enjoyed that little trip to Wrigley Field with us. See you next week.